All right, welcome everybody. Thanks again, as always, for taking time out of your crazy busy schedules to join this call. As always, your participation is critical to the success of these calls, so please feel free to participate openly and frequently. All right, so as we start every week, let's begin with some wins or challenges, anything that's happened in your business in the last couple of weeks, particularly from a membership acquisition perspective, but can even open that up broader if necessary. Any wins or challenges that you'd like to share with the group?
Let me start. And I had yesterday the third board meeting with one of my two boards. And this is the first time that I asked them to fill out an evaluation form, and I asked them yesterday for the first time to fill it out. So I was kind of nervous about that, and I had yesterday just 4 members out of the 13 that I have. And 2 of them scored with in this scale from the NPS from 0 to 10,
right?
And 2 of them scored their experience as 9, and the other 2 as 10. So I felt good about that. I think that we are doing a good job, and it was a very good win for me. So that's my win.
Excellent, congratulations. It's got to be very encouraging for you, Carlos, to get that kind of feedback from your members.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. Very good. Well, thanks for sharing that. I appreciate that. And I'm not surprised, honestly, having worked with you a little bit. I'm not surprised at all that those are your scores. But it can be very validating, and just keep charging.
Yes. Thank you, Ben.
Yep. Any other wins or challenges from the group?
So I'll share one.
Okay.
Last week, in my in and out on the phone call, I was talking to my CPA business partner about doing an event together.
Yep.
And so we met, and he thought it was great idea. And then as we were talking about what we wanted to do, we said, it would sure be great if we didn't introduce each other and we had somebody else who would help introduce. And I was like, well, you know what? I'm meeting with somebody from Silvergate Bank next week. I'll talk to him about that. And so I met with him, the banker, yesterday, and he was like, "This is an awesome idea. We'd love to partner up with you guys." So we're going to be doing an event in October that talks about some of the tax law changes, and then I'm working on how we're going to segue into TAB and what we're going to talk about for TAB. But the bank, I've got my database of about 1,000 people that has emails. That's just for TAB. And then, of course, we've got our CPA database for our business owner clients in San Diego. And then the bank. And the bank was telling us they do quarterly events, and they get, on average, about 100 people there. And he says after we take away the bankers, he says we have anywhere from 50 to 80 business owners there. So I'm kind of excited about that. I think I just need to work on what that meeting's going to look like. But 2 enthusiastic co-sponsors, and I think that's a win.
I think I would agree with you. I think that's a big win, and the fact that they're enthusiastic sponsors, I think, makes it an even better win. So that's excellent. Congratulations, first of all, on taking those steps forward. Does anybody have any thoughts for Tanya, or feedback, or any questions for how she's pulled this off? I think sometimes, Tanya, one of the things that I thought of when you were going through that is sometimes just asking the question is all it takes to really find out how invested others are in helping. And we oftentimes just are hesitant or reluctant to ask that question. So good job on making that happen. Any other wins or challenges? Well, I'll share a quick challenge. I usually don't do this, but as you all know, the conference is next week, the international conference, and so you can imagine that things around here are a little bit crazy. First of all, thank you for those that have had to postpone our coaching sessions due to conference preparatory work. I greatly appreciate that. You've helped me address a key challenge that I'm facing in managing my time. We'll get back on track the week after conference, but I would ask for you all to just be thinking about us, and as we prepare for this conference, we really want to provide a great deal of value to those that attend. We want to make it the best conference so far, and we're pretty confident that that's what's going to happen. So looking forward to that, but in the storm right now and preparing for that. So any just another minute or another second or two if anybody's got anything to share. Otherwise, we'll move forward with our agenda. Awesome. All right. So just wanted to emphasize real quick that I did make the change, as many of you know, for the Tuesday owner-to-owner sprint call. Previously, it was from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and we've shifted that to 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So now Tuesday and Wednesday actually occur in the same time blocks, just different days. And then Thursday, of course, is an hour later. It's 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Just wanted to make sure that everybody's aware of that. We had no participants yesterday on the owner-to-owner sprint call, so I'm hoping that means that we're going to have a full house today and a lot of people on the line making calls and setting up appointments with their key prospects. All right, so I wanted to spend just a little bit of time this morning. We've got a good group for this discussion, I think. I'd really like to kind of get your feedback. I prepare some content every week for these calls. I just want to make sure that, as the saying goes, I'm scratching where it itches for you. And so if there are any subjects or topics or anything that you would like to see on these calls, I'm going to ask you in just a minute to share what ideas you have. I wanted to give you some time as I talk for another minute or two to think about what you might want to have addressed during these calls, or if there are any other changes that you could see that would make these be more meaningful or better use of your time. As you know, the purpose of the group coaching call is really a forum for us to address key subject matter topics in a discussion format so that we can all learn together rather than taking up one-to-one coaching time to go over some of this information. I think the opportunity to learn from each other is really valuable when it's used well and when we're talking about things that are relevant to you and your business. And my learning has been accelerated because of these calls, as you all have shared your ideas and the things that you're doing and the way that you're approaching different aspects of your business. So I'm very grateful for these calls. But I wanted to, as I said, just pause and see if there's anything that you've been thinking. It would be really great if Ben would cover this on a call, or if we could talk about this particular subject during one of our calls. I'd really love to get your feedback on that. So I will pause and we'll kind of have a little bit of a brainstorming session on any subjects or topics that you would like to see addressed on future group coaching calls.
And is this regarding only member acquisition, Ben?
Not necessarily. So, obviously a large part of the focus in the coaching that I'm doing with most of the TBOs I'm working with is on member acquisition, but that's not all we talk about. So if there's anything about your business or how to help you be more effective in your business, those would all be meaningful topics.
Well, one for me, which is critical, it's engagement. How to produce, greater engagement and adding real value to our members. That's one key topic for me. And probably it's too broad, but that's what I can think of right now.
Okay. Is there, just to help me kind of dig in, is there, you said adding real value for members. Is there something that you've been thinking about where you think we could add more value, or you'd like to have something that you think would address a particular issue or challenge that some of your members are facing that would be good?
Well, yeah, that's my point with, when I said that I think it's too broad, I don't have nothing specific on my mind.
Okay.
It's just that, how to go deep and have, richer discussions on how to produce engagement.
Okay. Very good. Thanks, Carlos.
Yeah.
We can definitely work on that.
Yeah, Ben, for example, one, it could be about coaching skills, our coaching skills.
Sure, okay. What else would you all like to see, or what other topics do you think would be helpful to address? And while you're thinking real quick, is there anybody on the line that hasn't announced themselves?
This is Craig. I joined a few minutes late. My apologies.
Hey, Craig, no worries. So the silence must mean that other than the topic that Carlos mentioned about more engagement or bringing more value to members, you all are satisfied and happy with the content that we're covering.
The other one, Ben, and I'm not sure if it should be part of the scope of this sessions. Probably not. I would like to see, and I think this is not sure if this is something that is already happening with David Scrolla, but having discussions about each one of the different stages of the business blueprint could be, I think, very, very valuable in terms of how we are using it, what our experiences are, what is everyone improving, and that kind of stuff. But again, I'm not sure if it's part of the scope of these goals.
That would definitely fit within what would be appropriate for these calls. So yeah, it's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Hey Ben,
Yep.
I enjoy the calls. I like the questions that we do at the end. In fact, I've incorporated some of the questions in the other things I've done, but they're thoughtful and I like them. I think I would like to maybe get a little bit better understanding of DISC. I've been aware of DISC, and I did a DISC profile 25 years ago, and we've used it somewhat in our practice.
Yep.
But I'm noticing that, like, when I meet people, I would like to get a better understanding of how I can better react to somebody or make an assessment of who they might, what they might, where their strengths might be, and how I can better respond to them in discovery meetings or RFAs. Does that make sense, what I just said?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
And that is actually one of my favorite topics. I love talking about DISC because it's just such a rich area where we can be more effective just in all parts of our life, not just with our business. So yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah, Ben, that topic for me will be great. That's a great topic, I think.
Okay. Any other ideas? This will give me some content for quite a while, but I'm really curious if there's other stuff that you'd like to cover. So let's shift really quick. Are there any other improvements or changes that you think we could make to these calls that would help them to be more effective for you or a better use of your time? Believe me, I have a very thick skin, so nothing that you're going to say is going to offend me, except if you say it'd be better if we had a different host. That might hurt me a little bit, but beyond that, I'm open to any suggestions you have for making these better. I was joking, by the way. Well, let me ask a more pointed question then. We start every call with wins and challenges, and I know that we also do the same thing on the membership acquisition call on Fridays. Is that a good use of time? Because as I'm sure most of you recognize, sometimes we really struggle to get some input in that part of the call. And it can kind of kill any momentum right out of the gate when there's not a lot being shared. So is that something that you would like me to continue or maybe not do every week?
This is Craig. I think that's definitely a helpful topic to discuss. I think for me, and as maybe a newish, member of these calls, not really knowing who else is on the call is definitely an inhibitor to wanting to share too deeply, to be honest.
Okay.
And because I think the idea of having some camaraderie, I mean, the member acquisition calls and then the other calls have a lot of people on them. So obviously we're not going to know everybody. But in my mind, this is meant to be sort of a more focused group of people who are really committed to, making some improvements, which means there has to be vulnerability. And that's hard to do when it's sort of this group of 10 or 12 people who I really don't know much about.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense, Craig. I'm just trying to think through how we could change or help with that.
Yeah, and maybe it just takes me time to get to know everybody, right? I mean, maybe it's my issue, which is fine too. I have thick skin.
No, I actually, you've sparked something for me, and I'm wondering if it would be. What do you think of this idea? Just as Phil likes to say, I'm just spitballing here. What do you think about doing? Maybe at the beginning of a call, 3 to 5 minute introduction of somebody that's on the call, and I'll let whoever's going to do that, let them know in advance so that they're prepared for that. But just a little brief background, history, how long they've been with Tab, where they're at, challenges that they maybe have been facing in their business. Do you think that would be helpful, Craig?
I do. I mean, I'm thinking to all of the, chamber meetings and networking events you go to where you get 2 minutes to give your pitch. And not that we're pitching each other, but use in that similar idea of, 2 minutes on Craig Dooley and his experience with Tab to date, right? Just to sort of level set where I'm coming from. It may take 15 minutes of the meeting to run through a few of us or all of us or somewhere in between, whoever wants to do it. But I think that is, again, I think out of that will come, all right, some of the challenges that we could then circle back to, right? If I tell you a little bit about what my experience has been, it's probably going to highlight some things that are shared amongst us.
I really like that idea. I think that's great. And thanks for sharing that, Craig. That's very helpful.
Great.
Any other thoughts come to mind of how we can improve the call, make it more effective for you, more engaging? All right. Well, I won't linger too long. I know there are some that you just need to think about this a little bit more, and something will come up, after the meeting or somewhere down the road. Don't hesitate to send me an email or text me or whatever's the easiest for you in the moment. Any suggestions that you have, whether they be topics or ways to improve the call. I know sometimes we come out of a situation where like, man, I wish I'd have been better prepared for that. And so maybe that's a moment where you just shoot me an email and say, hey, could we at some point in the future talk about this on one of our group calls? And that's a way for me to kind of build into our agenda some of those things. And maybe, to your point, Craig, maybe it takes the emphasis off of a single TBO who might be challenged in an area and present it more as a general topic. It might feel a little safer and produce a little more conversation. So feel free at any point to send me your ideas for how we can make these calls better. All right, let's move forward, and we'll talk a little bit about our next marketing and referral tactic or strategy as associated with a tactic. We've covered so far guest advisors, LinkedIn member connections, the board meeting ask, and today we're going to dig in a little bit to the 90-minute plan ask or referral testimonial concept. So give me just a minute to kind of go over that as a whole, and then we'll open it up for your ideas, your experiences. So what are we really talking about here? You know, for those of you that use the 90-day performance guarantee, you're very familiar with how critically important it is to create value or to help your new member get a win within those first 90 days. It doesn't have to be a major win, but anything that projects forward the value of being TAB member or being on a board would have for them in their business. So, you know, when we talk about the 90-day plan ask or referral testimonial concept, we're really looking at how do we, in a 90-day period of time, help our members move forward in a significant way? What's a big win in the first 90 days or the next 90 days, whether it's a new member or an existing member? But really being focused on, from your perspective as coach and facilitator, how do I capture these things? How do I gain awareness of some of the wins that my members have had in the previous 90 days? And some of that is just, you know, keeping good records and keeping track of what the challenge and issue areas are that are presented in the board meeting and the commitments that the board members are making and how they're moving forward through the coaching sessions. But sometimes we forget some of the wins that our members have had because we're so focused on moving forward and the next meeting and the next coaching session. So I would really encourage each of you to have a system in place for capturing those wins that your members are experiencing, regardless of whether they seem, you know, really significant or it's just a step forward. And it's taken them a while to get here, but they made this step and it's a good movement forward. And I want to remember this because even when you're going through the end of the year closeout or not closeout, but refresh, you know, it's a good opportunity for you to look back over your members' history and say, you know, in the last year, these are some of the accomplishments that I made note of that we've worked through together and that have come out of your board participation. And then just run down the list and remind them of all the value that they've achieved over the year. But for this particular tactic or strategy, we really want to set the expectation with the member that as they have wins, we want them to share those wins with the board because we want to celebrate together, but also, you know, asking them to take time to either do a quick video recording or maybe type out a brief testimonial or referral letter about what they just accomplished. You know, it doesn't have to be a long thing. Maybe it's just a paragraph. Hey, you know, in working the last 90 days with Rick, we were able to increase my sales from where they were by 10% in just the last 90 days. You know, something like that. It doesn't have to be overly descriptive or too much detail. Just what happened in the last 90 days, or what did they take away from their time in the boardroom and with you in their coaching sessions. But you set that expectation early with your members that you want them to be chronicling their successes and wherever they're comfortable, being willing to share those in the boardroom and beyond. And then, of course, the best time to ask for a referral is right after a member has had a big win because they're feeling great about what they've just achieved. They're probably one of the highest points of value that they're going to see from their TAB membership. And so it's really easy to say, you know, is there anybody that you do business with, whether it's a supplier or a vendor, or maybe even a customer, that you think would benefit from learning more about TAB? Look at what you've just accomplished, and wouldn't it be great if all of the people that you do business with could have the same kinds of successes in their business? Who comes to mind as somebody that might want to learn more about TAB? And just ask them in that moment, because that's a sweet spot for getting referrals from members. One of the things that is really critical to remember about referrals is we never get referrals or give referrals from those that we're satisfied with. If we're satisfied with what we got, it means that we got the appropriate amount of value for the money that we spent or the investment that we've made. We only give referrals when we're wowed, or when we're blown away, or when we get value beyond what we thought was reasonable for what we invested. So we want to really capture those moments and help our members capture those moments and leverage it to get more referrals. And then, as I referenced, asking for testimonials. Video testimonials can be very, very powerful because you've got a face with the story, and people relate to that. We love stories. We relate to stories. Stories move us to action. And so if you can get a member to take just 30 seconds on their iPhone or their Galaxy or whatever device they're using to do a self-recorded testimonial of what they've just accomplished, and then you can share that in future prospecting meetings or with the boardroom, as a part of your celebration at the end of the year. It's just really powerful to see somebody talk about a success or a victory that they've had. The reason we don't have more testimonials most often is because we don't ask for them. And so make that part of your standard operating procedure in your business to routinely ask for your members to provide testimonials, even as specific as the victory that you just had or the progress that you just made. And by combining all of these things together, keeping a marker on the 90-day progress that your members are making, really setting those expectations with members that you want to capture these stories and you want to capture these wins, asking them in the moment for a referral or a testimonial to capture the emotion and the passion behind that win can be a really powerful way to improve the referral marketing strategy that you currently have in your business. So I want to pause really quick. Is there anybody who has used the moment of the big win with your member, or have captured testimonials from your members, and how has that worked for you?
In my case, then, I haven't yet, but I think it's critical, and now I'll begin doing it.
And again, Carlos, it's setting that expectation with the members up front that this is normal. This is what we do. Part of your job, part of your membership is bringing value to the boardroom. One of the ways that you bring value to the boardroom is introducing me to other members who can help increase the value. And you do that through referrals and your testimonials. So
right.
Just helping them understand that it's not an add-on, it's an expectation.
Yep.
Anybody else had any success with capturing referrals or testimonials from your members? I know a few of you have done it, so I know they're out there. Maybe just feeling a little quiet or shy or slow with your mute button. But if you're not doing this, obviously I highly encourage you to figure out how you can build this into your standard operating procedure so it becomes a routine. The last thing I'm going to say about this is we feel awkward sometimes asking, but if you practice asking, it becomes very natural. And so much like when you're sharing the monthly dues that you're going to charge a new member, if you're uncomfortable saying the number, they're going to see that, whatever the number is. If you're comfortable and it seems like this is just the way it is, then they're going to react to it differently. If I pause or stutter or hesitate when I say, well, my membership dues They're $850 a month. That's very different than saying membership dues are $850 a month, and it's a month-to-month commitment. We never lock you into a long-term. It's just part of my conversation. It's much more. It's much easier to accept when you hear that number. So even with asking a member for a referral, practice, get comfortable. In the moment, feel confident that you should get a referral based on what's just happened and the success that the members just had. Any final thoughts or comments? All right, so next time we'll talk more about strategic partners. Tanya actually shared a win earlier that is a great example of how to leverage partners, specifically around events. But there are some other things that we can be doing as well to maximize the value of a strategic partnership or an alliance member. And we'll talk more about that next week. I wanted to give everybody a quick update. So next week, as we've already discussed, is the international conference. Pre-conference starts on Tuesday, and the conference runs all the way through Saturday midday. So I will not be facilitating any of the owner-to-owner sprint call sessions next week. I would encourage you to leave those time blocks on your calendar and either make calls or use that for some form of marketing and business development activity. Stay consistent, stay committed. Don't let my scheduling changes influence or affect your consistency in executing your marketing strategy and tactics. So go ahead and make those calls. If you do make sprint or if you do make owner-to-owner calls, just send me a quick note with the number of dials that you made, the number of connections you made with business owners, the number of appointments that you set, and anybody that you feel is a good lead for the future. That way I can keep my data for you and for the group up to date, and we can see the progress that we're making. Also, as I'm sure you can imagine, the group coaching call next week on August 23rd is going to be canceled because I'll be involved with the conference, and many of you will be there as well. So we won't have this group call. The next group coaching call will be on August 30th. And you will see all of the cancellations for next week coming out in your email. And just be aware that these are for next week only, and then everything will resume back to its normal rhythm on the week of August 27th. All right, so let's move on to the round robin discussion question. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of setup here. So this is for those of you who have participated in the advanced coaching program offered by Carl Gould through TAB. This is one of the things that he does early on in that training program. And so the concept here is that when we're walking into a meeting, sometimes the outcome of that meeting can be established before we ever walk through the door, just because of our mindset, our energy level, our enthusiasm, any prejudgments we may have placed on this meeting. We can predict the outcome oftentimes based on what we are feeling like when we walk through the door. So one of the strategies that we can use to shift our mindset or better prepare us for the next meeting is to remember our superpower and our superhero name. We all have them. We just haven't necessarily spent time thinking about them. And so my superpower is that thing or that quality about me that makes me who I am or makes me very unique, or that I know to be one of my key strengths. And then I take that superpower and I create my superhero name based on that power. To set us off, I will share with you my superpower and my superhero name. My superpower, I actually have two, because I'm just that special. I have two superpowers, but they're very related. I have the superpower of hope and the superpower of optimism. So I'm very optimistic in life in general, and I have hope for the best in all situations. Even when things are very difficult or extremely stressful and challenging, my go-to mindset is for hope. One of the things that my close friends often hear me say is, I don't know, but we'll figure it out. Because that, for me, frames expectation that we're going to get through this in a very good way, and we're going to be better for it. And so, my superhero name is the Hoptimist.
Can you repeat the superhero name?
I like it.
It is the Hoptimist. So it's a combination of hope and optimist. The Hoptimist.
Hoptimist.
How do you spell that, Ben?
Hopetimistic, or something like that. And I can't spell on the fly.
Fair enough.
All right. So let's go around the room, and hopefully that gives you a good perspective on how we should be approaching this. Let's start. Well, I'm gonna ask for a volunteer. Who is ready to share their superhero name and their superpower?
I could start. This is Mike. I was thinking about this, and it is thinking about a man who's been in my life that is a client, and his business has done really well. His name is Frank, so that's my superhero name. So Frank is my hero, and my superpower is that I want to be like. I want to be like what I see in him, and my superpower is listening and encouragement. So I'm an encourager, and but I'm also a listener.
Awesome.
In my case, Ben, I think that my superpower is, being a trustworthy person. And, based on that, I think that the superhero name will be Trusty Man.
Very good. I like that.
I'll jump in. This is Craig. I asked my 10-year-old what it should be, and she tells me that it should be Super NAF, and NAF stands for nice, amazing, and funny. So I'm going to run with that. So I walk into a meeting. I'm a nice guy. I'm a funny guy, but I'm also pretty darn amazing, and so I expect amazing things to happen. Super NAF, at your service.
I love that. And I love that you got your 10-year-old involved. That's awesome.
It's a family affair.
Yes, exactly. Who's next? Tanya, Rick, or Mike?
Okay, I'll go. But I guess I should have taken this more seriously. Anyway, so I was out to lunch the other day with a referral friend of mine, and we were just talking about what we do. And I'm a CPA. You guys have heard me say that before, but I often refer to myself as the anti-CPA because I really don't enjoy doing CPA stuff. And he told me I was a purple squirrel. And I said, what? and he says, yeah, he says, you're the elusive, or he says, you're a purple squirrel because there's no such thing as unicorns. So he says, there might be a purple squirrel out there. And he said, because you care more about people and about their goals and about the strategies and the outcomes than you do about the numbers. And so I thought about that, and I was going to call myself the purple squirrel, but then I found out that actually that's a phrase that's been in use for many years with regard to hiring. And so last night I ran across a picture of a turquoise chicken on Facebook, and it said it was extremely rare. So I decided to call myself the elusive turquoise chicken. But anyway, I should take it more seriously, I guess, than because you guys did. But that's kind of where I'm at.
I think that's awesome.
I'm the elusive turquoise chicken.
I love it. I love it. And I especially like that you're the elusive turquoise chicken.
Yeah, you got to have an adjective. So.
I'll jump in there too, because I was with Tanya. I kind of kept it a little bit more lighthearted because somebody wrote, "Let's have fun with this" on the email. I'm just saying. Yeah. So I'm gonna modify this now that I know, but I was gonna be Wonder Man. And my power was the power of wonder, or bread, Wonder Bread. Because I wonder where the bread is coming from. So that's probably not going to be a good one to go with. So I'll go with Solution Man, and my superpower is I like to solve problems, and I feel like whoever the other person was that said that is that there's got to be a pony in there somewhere. So I think I feel very confident I will be able to help solve the problem, whatever problem we discover.
Very good. Which Wonder Man actually fits that one as well. So, all right. I guess that leaves Rick. If Rick
Ben, I'd like to give you the opportunity for some feedback. If you could give us that good explanation you gave it right before you introduced it, when you give the question out, I think we might have time to think about it a little bit more in the context you meant. Because I immediately went to humor. I immediately went to humor and didn't even think of any real superpowers.
Thanks, Rick. I appreciate you saying that.
No problem. Here's what I put for myself, and it's borrowing from a very good animated movie. Actually, 3 of them. But I was calling myself Kung Fu Panda, both because I possess a fighting spirit with a martial arts and self-defense nut background, and because with my slowing metabolism and gift of putting off working out, I'm body contouring more and more like a panda. So that's what I put, but, in reality, I have some actual skills that I could have put down there that might have led to a different answer. I just went for the humor. After all, it is National Joke Day, right?
It is National Joke Day.
But I can refine that if I need to take into some of the skill set I think I bring to this position.
Rick, you will from now on and forever be referred to as Kung Fu Panda. There's just no getting out of it now.
All right, good. Well, I like to eat too, so. I don't think I've had that many dumplings, but maybe I can start trying.
There's your action plan right there.
All right, there you go.
I will share Steve Drury sent in his. He's actually going through the advanced course with me, so we did this exercise together. And his superhero name is the Igniter, and that is because he is really skilled at helping people ignite their vision or their goal and helping them to get there. So that was his superhero name. Kevin Kays also shared his superhero name, and he took more of the Mike Grover and Rick Powell approach to the question. And he sent me a video link, which I will happily forward to the rest of you and let you see where he got his name from. I will warn you that it's a Howard Stern video, so if you're easily offended, you might not want to watch it. But his superhero name is Fartman. And that, I think, covers everybody that I got feedback from. So the value of the exercise is to laugh a little bit, but it's also to think through and consider how you can adjust your mindset in the moment to remind yourself of what you're bringing to the conversation. We touched on this during an owner sprint call recently, and that is, changing your mindset as you begin to launch on a sprint or to begin making owner-to-owner calls, and reminding yourself that the call that you're making to this business owner is the best call that this business owner is going to take all day because of the value that you're bringing to them. not very many people are going to call them and say, hey, let me help you make your business wildly successful. And so we're bringing a great deal of value to the business owners that we're reaching out to. And we have to just remember, we're not in this, many of us are not in this because we want to make money. Obviously, that's part of it. But there's a lot of ways to make money. And the reason that we chose to be coaches and facilitators, particularly with TAB, is because of our desire and our passion to help people find success. And we need to remember our why. We need to remember our motivation when we're having those rough days, or when we're getting ready to do something that we don't necessarily find the most enjoyable. And power through, because this is what it takes. This is what I need to do to get to the things that I love to do. And doing the things that I love to do is what it's all about, and that's where my superhero comes out. Very good. Well, thanks for sharing. I enjoyed that very much. And I'll be looking for a great question or a great statement for us to share in our next call on the 30th. With that, we've kind of ran through my agenda. We've got about 5 minutes left, maybe 6. If there's anything that anybody would like to discuss. All right, then what I will do is we'll close the call. I look forward to seeing some of you next week. I look forward to shaking your hand, giving you a hug, connecting face to face, and just being able to take the work that we're doing together a little bit further. I hope to spend time with everybody who's out here that's part of this program and just really connect. Please search me out. I'll be around every day, making myself available. For those that aren't able to come this year, hopefully you're already making plans for next year's conference to make sure that you're out here. I think it's very valuable and provides a great boost sometimes to get us moving again and some of the things that we need to work on. With that, we'll go ahead and wrap up the call.
Hey, Ben.
Yeah, go ahead, Tanya.
I don't know how many is going, but I was wondering if maybe you guys wanted to get together just to sit together for one of the breakfasts. Usually there's a breakfast that's just that's not committed to anything. Isn't that right, Ben?
Yes, there will be breakfast opportunities. I also have, I don't remember which day, but one of the lunches that we're going to have on Thursday or Friday. I think it's Thursday because I think Friday's the awards luncheon. We're going to have tables so that we can eat together over lunch, if you choose to.
Well, when you say we can eat together, I mean, is it already set up for anything in particular, or?
It's just a couple of tables together, and that's where I'll be eating, and anybody who wants to join me. Either I'll be eating alone, like back in high school, or I'll have some friends.
I would love to meet everybody face to face. You know, I hear your voices on the phone, but I don't.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I'll hunt you out, Ben, on the lunch day that doesn't have a commitment.
Okay, very good.
Awesome. Okay.
And I will be at I'll be at the dinner on Thursday night, and there's also a cocktail mixer on Friday after the conference events are over, and I'll be there as well. So we'll have plenty of chance to talk.
Cool.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining in today. Hopefully this was a good use of your time, and thanks for your feedback, and we'll make future calls even better. So have a great Thursday. Hope to hear some of you on the Owner Sprint call, and we'll talk to you all later.
Bye.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
Bye.